you'll land upon Dr.
Graduate from King's Medical College, subsequently trained and practiced in New York, University Medical Center, Manhattan, USA, 71, where he obtained from the American Board of Surgery and American Board of Cardiothoracic Surgery. Dr. Trahan is the chairman and managing director and chief cardiac surgeon of Medanta, the Medicity, a 1,500 bedded multi-super specialty institute which offers cutting-edge technology and state-of-the-art treatment facilities, affordable cost. The institute is governed under the guiding principles of providing medical services to patients with healthcare compassion. Dr. Trahan founded the Escorts Institute and Research Center. He was the executive director. Escorts was conceptualized and created by Dr. Trahan, including, I've also already mentioned his awards. Dr. Trahan was president of the International Society for Intensive Care Surgery in Minneapolis, USA, 2004 to 2005, and has also received the honorary doctorate degrees from 3 prestigious universities. So he will be our first panelist. Then we have, giving the government perspective, Rupinder Bararji is an Indian Revenue Service Officer, 1990 batch. She is presently posted as Assistant Director General, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Ms. Barar has completed her school education from New Delhi and Dar es Salaam. She has studied history in the major subject with a focus of modern Indian history from Delhi University, earned her master's in public administration from Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy in Singapore. Recently completed her law from Bombay University. She has also enrolled in the master's degree of psychology. Ms. Barar has worked in various capacities in New Delhi, Gurgaon, Faridabad, Patiala, Ludhiana. Prior to being posted in the Ministry of Tourism, she was holding the charge of Commissioner Large Taxpayer Unit of the Income Tax Department in Mumbai. Ms. Barar has been nominated to attend a number of training institutes in India and overseas. Ms. Barar's interests include reading books of general music, cooking, tarot card reading. Ms. Barar has been awarded Finance Minister's Gold Medal and Law in Professional Training and full scholarship from MIPP program LKYPP Singapore. The other panelist we have, a very important panelist, is Dr. Brigadier Arvind Lal, Padam Shri, which is also the highest honor. Brigadier Lal is a pioneer in bringing laboratory services to India as par with the Western world. He's an alumnus of the Armed Forces Medical College, Pune, having received his graduate and postgraduate medical degrees from the prestigious institution. In 1977, Brigadier Lal took the charge of Path Labs, the medical diagnostic founded in 1949 by his father. Under his expert guidance of leadership, Dr. Path Labs has become one of the most reputed laboratories in Asia. Having to its credit, what is amazing is that it is the #1 lab out of 1,000, accredited labs in the country. And he right now has 216 labs and 4,000 collection centers, and which is, I think, the largest anywhere in the world. And he has, in this recent pandemic, tested more than 20 million patients. So I think I have a 2-3 page, he's been a keynote speaker and, advisor in FICCI and leadership. And so I think it's a very long biodata. I would rather listen to him. And our final speaker is, my dear friend, Mr. Kamla V. Rao, a senior officer of the Indian Administrative Service with 30 years diverse experience in key positions at the government, passionate about tourism. He is currently chairman, managing director of India Tourism Development Corporation, a public company, and under the Ministry of Tourism. As Secretary Tourism, Government of Kerala, he was instrumental in achieving uh, increase in international footfalls, particularly from Europe, UK, as well as being the luxury travel prospects a state, a champion. Last minute connectivity, Rao believes in holistic and comprehensive development of destinations worth mentioning, uh, for which he has launched new initiatives of post-COVID scenario in the company he heads. So I think some very good initiatives we are looking forward to, which Dr. Rao has done. I will not speak about them. I am aware of him. He's doing a great job. And he has also served as Secretary Revenue and Principal Secretary in Public Works Department in the Government of Kerala and as Chairman of the Indio Tobacco Board, Government of India. So with such a wonderful panel, I think our both national and international viewers, you see, India has really come of age. Now, as you know, that medical tourism is a buzzword in the market, combining two of the fastest growing industries in the world, healthcare and tourism. Medical tourism is a new form, niche tourism, increasingly becoming popular, and India has emerged as a popular destination for growing and providing global standards of healthcare at affordable costs. India is one of the most sought after foreign medical tourist friendly countries and has made a mark in the global level because of high quality of diverse clinical experience at a very low cost of treatment. The country has a vast pool of clinics, the largest pool of doctors and paramedics in South Asia, thus making it popular as a medical destination for foreigners. On a lighter side, if Indian doctors and nurses are removed from the hospitals of UK, USA, and UAE and Middle East, then I don't know, it will affect their services substantially. Given India has a huge tourism potential, a number of hospitals bundle medical treatment with tourism, making it an attractive medical destination. Over the time, India has been considered as one of the best medical tourism destinations, specialized in a team of doctors, low cost and world-class treatment, along with world-class. So I will not say more. I would listen to the experts. I'm just posing a few questions, which in the course, whoever wants to cover them in their presentation. You see, the factors that help India, one is that it's the lowest, uh, the most important fact is that we have the latest technology and some of our best hospitals in the world like Medanta, Medicity, Apollo, Escorts, Max, uh, just to name a few, they are second to none as cost of treatment is less than 1/3 of what you get in Europe or USA. Uh, we, uh, we have one of the lowest costs. It offers a wide variety of procedures at 1/10 the cost of developed countries and quality care. The other biggest advantage India has is that there is no waiting time for surgeries as compared to other developing countries. Recuperative services like Ayurveda, yoga, naturopathy, which are extremely relaxing and perfect treatments, uh, are very important, and that is why we are calling this session as healing, center. India is a healing center, and we offer everything. Another important is that there are no language barriers. English is spoken in India. We have, in fact, more English-speaking people in India than England and America put together. Easy visas on arrival. Now we have e-visas, quality of patient safety, no longer waiting, facilities of aftercare. Now, these are, I can go on and on, but I leave it for the experts. Well, friends, I think I'm very fortunate that we have this opportunity. Yesterday, Dr. Harshvardhan, who was the chief guest at the inaugural session, I had requested him personally. He said, I'll say a few words at the inauguration of this, but because of his prior commitments with the PMO or someone, he could not make it. But I will, when we put this on YouTube, I will also put Dr. Harshvardhan's, video message along with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, with such a wonderful panel, and I hope that my international viewers, yesterday we had more than 2,000 viewers from 70 countries, along with the, Indian and international viewers together, we were 2,070 countries, and I hope that today we have the equal number or even more. I have also been requested as chairman of ITM by certain institutions who could not join. So we will be sending them the links and these video films to those institutions in India and abroad. So thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, I have great pleasure in presenting you the one and only Dr. Naresh Trehan, who's an institution in his own right. So over to you, Dr. Trehan. Your voice, you have to unmute yourself, sir.
Okay.
Hi.
So good morning to everybody, and thank you, Mr. Goyal, for those kind words, which I have to live up to. But also Ms. Rupinder Brar and my co-panelists, and all the viewers from around the world who have joined this important presentations by India in a virtual form, of course. But it's a great initiative, Mr. Goyal, that you've taken, and obviously you're getting traction around the world. So coming to India medical value travel. We like to call it not India medical tourism, but value travel. And when we say value, we also have the components of that value. So first thing first, anybody who gets sick in their own country first looks for what is available in their country, with what expertise, with what technology, at what cost. So we have, if you take the Indian scenario, as you had mentioned earlier, Mr. Goyal, that the credentials of the Indian doctors and nurses and the paramedical personnel are very well established around the world. Like you said, NHS would collapse if Indian doctors were not there. I personally was in the US for 20 years, and a full 20% of the super specialists are from India. So you understand that we have established that quality of our education, our ability to absorb new technologies and to execute the most complex of procedures, no matter which specialty they may be in. So it was natural that we establish institutions like that in India, and Vedanta is one of those institutions which we call the Cleveland Clinic, the Mayo, or the Harvard of the East. So there are three components to it. The three components are very important, is to say, one, the physical structure layout in which you take care of the fact of the patient's safety, the comfort with which the patient can experience the procedure what they've come for, compassion, and lastly, low cost, but for the highest quality. So it's not a trade-off. It is a presentation of our culmination of these things in a way that we can deliver the highest end of healthcare. And if you compare our results with the finest institutions around the world, we either are comparable or ahead of them. So where we can do bypass surgeries at 99.8% success rate, I mean, not many people in the world can match it. We have cancer facilities with the radiation facilities, the surgical facilities, the chemo facilities, which are unmatched in most of the places. So when we talk about Sloan Kettering, we talk about MD Anderson, that's the league with which we talk about. So let's park that aside for the moment. From the patient's point of view, there is another very important element that only present in India, and that is the, you can say, fusion, integration, or complementary functioning of the Ayurvedic and the modern medicine system. So much so that in Medanta, we have an Ayurvedic hospital embedded in here. So when a patient comes, they get the complete ball of wax because of the fact that we are into wellness, we are into promotive health, we are into predictive health, we are into prevention, curative, post-management. So all these things are seamless and we are not the only institution, there are many institutions, but when we are one of the largest. So that's one of the things that we can say proudly. Okay. Now, when the patient thinks of it, how that they need to seek treatment, they will go on a search. Now, the search can be our Indian missions are already geared up to give all the background that is available in India and to facilitate the medical tourism visa. So that visa makes it possible for them to get, one, it is done expeditiously. Two, when they arrive at the airport, because people are not well, that's why they're coming to India, that there is separate channels for them to be cleared. And then the hospitals provide the facilities, like we run the Delhi airport, from Medanta runs the medical services. So we bring them seamlessly outside wherever they want to go. And if they're coming to Medanta, they're transported to Medanta immediately. So they then have to experience the entire scope of the treatment that they have. But then we also have extended care facilities where they can stay in the hospital so that they're not exposed to the outside world if they so prefer. So that means it's a service as far as the medical delivery is concerned, from airport back to the airport to their flight. So these are the kind of things that have happened in India to facilitate the security, the comfort, and the real feeling of that the Indian hospitality, which is embracing, is delivered to everyone. So when we come to the fact that what experience has showed us by integrating modern medicine with Ayurveda, wherever it plays a role, we have shown very clearly in studies, well-documented studies, that patients experience less anxiety. Their recovery pattern is much faster, and their ability to go back to function is much faster. So in all ways, by integrating these two sciences, we have been able to give a new experience. And especially in patients with neurological problems, with patients with strokes, Ayurveda has made a big difference. People who are undergoing surgeries made a big difference. So if I would say with conviction that with the civil aviation authorities, with the tourism ministry, with the health ministry, all these factors have been now brought into one whole experience, including the fact the MEA, the Ministry of External Affairs. So I think this appreciation has to go through. We are going through coming out of a terrible pandemic, which actually shook the whole world. But people now should feel absolutely safe because India has one of the lowest COVID incidents today in the world. If you look at our population and what we are seeing, it almost is off the scene. And the vaccine program is going very active so that in coming weeks, you will have very large population vaccinated already. And the fact that people should have the security that they are coming to a place where the risk of any exposure to COVID-19 is, if not impossible, but maybe mini ways. So I think with that, I will say that the services that actually stand out, in addition to, like I said, the Ayurvedic stuff, that what stands out is that we have the highest expertise in cardiac problems, whether it be cardiology, cardiac surgery, rehabilitation, and preventive, what I've said, predictive medicine for cardiology is very important for that. When it comes to cancer treatment, our institutions can offer the best of if surgical intervention is needed. the best of chemotherapy and the best of radiation. In fact, I just at the risk of sounding a little boastful, Medanta has 4 modalities of radiation, which not many institutions around the world have. We have CyberKnife, tomotherapy, IMRT, IGRT. So all these facilities are available so that, like Mr. Goyal also mentioned, that the capacity is such that there is no need for a waiting list, because when somebody gets sick, they want their treatment immediately. So these are the things that India has to offer. Beautiful culture, beautiful, places to visit also. And many people we organize after they have recovered to go to Agra, Jaipur. And so this part is also thrown into the experience. So with that, I think I've said enough about India. I think it should be compulsive. If you think that you need to leave your country to get somewhere for good, better treatment with compassion and the cost being affordable, India is the place. So India Heal is a very appropriate banner for India. I think that logo that is being developed by the Ministry of Tourism is an excellent one. Thank you for listening to me and my co-panelists. I look forward to hearing from you. And also, if there are any queries that come, and if I have to answer, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. I think it's always a pleasure listening to you. Medicine would not be, that effective if it was not for the diagnostic and the testing facilities which are there. You see, as you already know, that overall Indian healthcare market is worth around US $100 billion and is expected to grow to US $280 billion. The compound, anyway, I won't go into those statistics. All that I want to say is that without the facilities and without the technology and without the diagnostic facilities, you see, how do we know that this man needs to be, operated upon, or, what deficiencies of vitamin he has, how much his diabetic content and all is. We are very fortunate that we have Brigadier Dr. Arvind Lal Padam Shri here with us. And he will tell us about the various facilities that are there, not only with Lal Path Labs, but also with within the country, and what role India plays as far as the testing part of the side of the medical facilities in India is concerned. So over to you, Dr. Arvind.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goyal. Can you just hand me over the slide?
Yeah, sure. Chitali, just hand over the, whenever he has to show.
Done, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, I have a great pleasure in being here, and I would also like to welcome my panelists led by Dr. Naresh Trehan, whom I've only known for the last 60 years. So that gives you an idea how old both of us are. And Mr. G.V.K. Rao, the Chairman and Managing Director of ITDC, Ms. Rupinder Brar, the Additional Director General of Ministry of Tourism, and I would also like to thank the Federation of Associations in Indian Tourism and Hospitality of Faith, especially Mr. Subhash Goyal, the Honorary Secretary, and his entire team of dedicated workers. And last but not the least, I would like to thank Mr. Sanat Kaul, Chairman, International Foundation for Aviation, Space and Drones, and formerly of the Indian Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to first say the basic, that technology is the backbone of modern medicine. No longer is it counted, or the modern medicine can be equated with olden times of witchcraft and magic. Now everything has become evidence-based, and that's where we come in. So, yeah. So basically, the sample collection has to be done, testing has to be done, and then the test report has to be generated. Before the 1980s, the sample collection and the lab testing was all done at one place. And after 1980 to 2000, the sample collection moved closer to the patient and testing was done at a central location. And that was the birth of the hub and spoke model. And I would also like to inform you what Mr. Goyal said, that we are running 216 labs and about 4,000 collection centers. I was the one who brought in franchising in healthcare in the world for the first time, franchising out collection centers. And then post 2000, we created National Pathology Grid, thanks to the ICT. And there we had a reference lab in, say, in Delhi, and it was linked to all the other labs and collection centers in Mumbai, Bangalore, and Kolkata, etc. And also for the government of India, we developed a new testing model where the initial, the bottom of the pyramid kind of was, the lab was in primary health center, and the bigger lab was community health center, followed by the district hospital, and also then finally the central laboratory. So here I would like to show you how we made use of space technology as early as 1999 and year 2000. Now in Agartala, which is only 288,000 kilometers away from Delhi, is our chemistry analyzer, and a bar-coded vacutainer blood collection tube arrives here at the analyzer. The analyzer scans it and used to send information via the satellite, in this case an Indian satellite, INSAT 3C, and the information would be received by the server in Delhi, and the Delhi server would have been upgraded by the patient's lab number, information, basically the test order, and it would give the order back via the satellite, and the analyzer here, the carousel of the analyzer would actually move, and this was happening in 8 milliseconds each way, and we brought this technology in the world for the first time. So therefore, we can run a lab, in an area in Siachen Glacier in the Himalayas, in the desert, in the vast, areas of Africa or the Middle East, in the desert, etc. So this is what we brought. Of course, now the fiber optic cable has come in, but if need be, we can still fall back on the satellite-based system. Now, this is the pride of the Indian diagnostics, our reference lab at Rohini, New Delhi. And this is where the patients are, registered. And this is the lab. This is part of the biochemistry lab, the hematology lab, the immunopathology lab. And this also, like the Delhi reference lab, we also have a lab in Kolkata, which is known as the Kolkata reference lab. And again, it is packed with the, as they say, armed to the teeth with all these modern analyzers, etc. And this is just to give you the background that, well, the pathology testing is no longer the small path lab in the basement of a hospital, but it's a huge kind of a work here. So I would like to reiterate that 70% of all medical decisions are based on pathology tests. And the high quality of pathology test is the hallmark of the Indian pathology industry. And we have about 50 diagnostic labs that have been accredited internationally by the American Board of Pathology, CAP, and about 2,000 by the national accreditation body, NABL. And I would like to say that the hospitals got their accreditations 6 or 8 years earlier, the pathology labs had come up to these international and national standards. India, as you have already heard from Dr. Trehan, is uniquely placed for medical tourism or medical value tourism or medical value service because of very highly skilled manpower, the use of English language, diverse medical conditions due to population size and the geographical distribution, and much lower cost and large number of non-resident Indians coming here regularly. So we also, why come to India? Because we have the widest test menu. Just imagine all these samples can be sent to us before you even embark to India. And we are running 3 international labs, one in Nairobi, one in Bangladesh, one in Nepal. And we receive samples from about 18 other countries. So your diagnosis can be made before you land up with Dr. Trehan. And all those things are not needed. And in fact, we've been congratulated that when our patients Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital, they don't have to be retested there. So that is the level of the quality acceptance of our labs. So all testing in oncology, transplant pathology, as you know, that we are pioneers in kidney transplants, liver transplants, bone marrow transplants. So how do you gauge that this organ from this donor X can go into the body of the donor Y? It is done by people like us, and it is known as high resolution HLA typing. And histopathology, we are the world leaders. We are the world leaders in the cutting edge of, or the final diagnosis of pathology, known as histopathology. We do about 1,250 to 1,300 biopsies a day. And we follow that up with, branding of the cancer. Just diagnosing cancer is not the ultimate analysis. We have to go much further. And that is done by all these other panels like histochemical markers, breast cancer markers, BRCA1 and BRCA2, which is a genetic marker. You've heard of the case of the Hollywood actress, Joe. Well, all that is history now. All these tests are available with us for a very long time. Lung cancer panel, biochemical markers, and in renal biopsies also all over the world. Before the renal transplant is done or any kidney thing is diagnosed, well, we are the world leaders. And we also have the only electron microscope in this part of the world. So when the transplanted organ, the kidney, liver, or bone marrow has taken place, the body of the recipient will automatically reject it. And you have to stop the rejection by giving what we call immunosuppressive drugs. And those are known as tacrolimus, everolimus, cyclosporin, etc. So we do that testing on a daily kind of a basis by the latest technology in the world, LC-MS. And we can also diagnose all your heavy metals in the soil or in the water or in toys, etc. And trace metal analysis by ICP-MS and also kidney stone analysis. The infectious molecular PCR test, which we have all been now subjected to, the RT-PCR for COVID-19. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have done over 1 million such RT-PCR tests. And we were pioneers in this, and we also did swine flu when it came in 2009. TB, which is India's #1 infectious disease, we are pioneers in that. Hepatitis C, hepatitis B, these are the two conditions, and of course now the alcoholic fatty acid disease also, which leads to a liver transplant. Well, we are world leaders in that testing. Also for the HIV, chlamydia, and other kind of things. Autoimmune disorders. Now the autoimmune disorders are those in which, because of some kind of a trigger, whatever it may be, the body's own organs, they have a mutiny against your own body. So your body forms those kind of antibodies. And that also, we have a whole array of thousands of tests here. And we have an exhaustive list of allergy testing, which you can inhale pollen, etc., and also food allergies. Next, please. So we are also pioneers in newborn screening using dry blood spots for inborn errors of metabolism and for hemoglobin disorders like thalassemias and hemoglobinopathies, and also for leukemias. And these are new, kind of things, flow cytometry for leukemias and myelomas, and for chromosome testing for hematology, malignancy, amniotic fluids, products of conception. There's a lady who keeps on aborting her fetus. Well, you've got to come to us and get it done. And maternal screening for non-invasive prenatal testing and maternal blood for fetal DNA. This is the cutting edge of science now. From a drop of blood, we can tell you whether the baby inside a mother's womb is going to be suffering from things like Down syndrome. And also tests in very highly sophisticated tests for clotting and bleeding disorders. So trends predict increasing demand for cancer, which is one now. Genomics, where everything is genetic based. Fish, that's a technology. Microarray is a technology. Sequencing for clinical exome and whole genomics and HLA high resolution testing by NGS, that is next generation sequencing. And the availability of digital histopathology, I would like to lay emphasis here. We are pioneers in bringing digital histopathology to India. So you can have a lab cutting samples for us or biopsies which have been made into slides, and those slides can be beamed to us. And as I told you, that we are the #1 histopathology readers in the world. So this can be, wherever you don't have such highly trained pathologists, now the distance is not a barrier. and we can do the needful sitting here and you beaming the slides from there. So I will show you a small video now, which will give you a further brief into what the labs are these days.
Flow cytometry has evolved as an indispensable tool for the diagnosis of several disorders, especially hematological malignancies. The department routinely handles low, moderate, and high complexity tests. The department uses automated single platform softwares for lymphocyte subset enumeration and CD34 positive stem cell enumeration.
Evolution of LC-MS for newborn screening is an important milestone as the technique has greatly increased the screening possibilities by measuring levels of amino acids and acyl carnitine with one dry blood spot.
The department does around 150 different types of assays and handles around 1,200 extractions.
So this is the department where we have carried out nearly 1 million tests for COVID-19 by RT-PCR.
Newer techniques and technologies to bring the right kind of testing at the right kind of pricing to our patients.
Cytogenetics department of Dr. Lal Path Labs is one of the state-of-art laboratory to introduce and implement fully automated systems for cytogenetics. One of these are automated harvesters and metaphase spreaders from Hanabi, Japan. Currently, 3,000 plus samples being processed in cytogenetics per month.
Dr. Lal Path Labs. It has shortened the identification turnaround time from 24 hours to less than a minute. The instrument is very robust with a throughput of 90 isolates an hour and has a strong database of 4,000 different organisms.
And as a natural extension of this, and in keeping with our philosophy of maintaining the highest quality standards, we also happen to be the first biological transmission electron microscopy facility in the whole country to achieve the accreditations both from NABL as well as College of American Pathology.
The department handles routine hematology testing like CBC to high-end testings for autoimmune and allergy. We provide testing from common disorders to rare disorders like autoimmune encephalitis and paraneoplastic syndromes.
As the first private lab to start HLA typing and supporting renal transplants in India, the department has an enormous amount of experience in the field of transplantation. It offers the largest test menu in the field of bone marrow and solid organ transplant in India under a single umbrella.
Our department is catering up to 280,000 samples annually, putting us in the league of global leaders in pathology. Processing of such large volume is made possible with the efforts of highly trained team of technical staff, aided by automated instruments of leading brands and a specialist team of 21 hard-working pathologists.
The lab uses fully automated high-throughput analyzers with technology such as AU5800, Centaur XPT, Architect 2000 for clinical lab testing. These equipments have the capacity to produce 10,000 results per hour. Integrated with robust IT solution, they provide highly reproducible results, simplify operations, reduce manual errors, and maximize patient safety.
At Dr. Lal Path Lab, each sample that gets a diagnosis of cancer is to 3 levels of workup. First, at the histopathology level by myself and my colleagues in histopath department. Second, at the level of ancillary testing like molecular diagnostics, cytogenetics, flow cytometry by my colleagues in the respective departments. And finally, within the oncopathology department by myself to integrate each of these separate reports and interpret the various findings in the context of the original cancer diagnosis.
LPL quality team has been instrumental in getting accreditations for its labs and maintaining it. LPL is one of the first labs in India to be accredited by National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories, NABL, and College of American Pathologists, CAP.
We put together cutting-edge technology and years of experience with a team of over 60 pathologists and research scientists and nearly 300 laboratory technologists to be a one-stop solution for diagnostics for patients, labs, and hospitals pan-India and for 19 other countries, Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia. We continuously strive to live up to the sentiment of our patients and clinicians that if there is a diagnostic test available in India, it is with Dr. Lal Path Labs.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to add that these days 65% of the population in the world is dying from what we call non-communicable diseases, also known as lifestyle diseases. And we are experts in, making that not happen. So if you are careful about if you take responsibility about your own health, you will not land up as a full-fledged disease. And for that, as Dr. Naresh Trehan and Mr. Goyal have mentioned, that we have not forgotten our old sciences, the Ayurvedic sciences. And he told you that he has a part of his big hospital, allopathic hospital, he has an Ayurvedic wing also. And here in my capacity, I'm running two Ayurvedic hospitals in the Himalayas, Uttarakhand, one in Ranikhet and one near Almora. So you can have a whole gamut of Ayurvedic sciences who can stop these diseases from happening. And also, if you have suffered from these diseases, you can go back there and you can also be made a part of our spiritual sciences, for which we already have a very rich culture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lal. I think I'm really enlightened, and I'm sure so are viewers also. And we are proud that in India, I have personally seen all the facilities that are there in Vedanta, Dr. Naresh Trehan's facilities. We have recommended a lot of people there. But Dr. Lal, I was not aware of the, wonderful, great work that you're doing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen the both sides of this, and now we have two people from the Government of India. And first, I'll request Rupinder Bararji, who's Additional Director General of Tourism and also is spearheading a lot of marketing initiatives in the Ministry of Tourism. The most recent being Dekho Apna Desh series of seminars she conducted. So it's all over to you, Rupinderji.
Thank you, Subhashji. And indeed, as you already mentioned, it's been a great learning being part of the platform, that the kind of facilities that India has to offer to Indians and to people from the overseas, in fact, is just amazing, absolutely. And I'm sure all the viewers who've joined in for this particular session and will see it later as a recorded session will have a huge takeaway, not only in getting well if you've gotten down with some illness, but on how to remain fitter and remain healthier and happier. And I think that was the part focus of Dr. Lal's mention, that why we need pathology. And we were talking about it before we tuned into the session on how not to land up on Dr. Trehan's surgeon's table is part of the duty that Dr. Lal is doing towards the society. So it's a great learning. And I must share with all of you that the government is also very, very keen to take forward the work that has been done by our doctors, the nursing staff, the pharmacies, and in times of COVID, the learning that has come further, that how equipped we are as a country in terms of medical research is perhaps there for the world to see. We're already rolling out vaccine to 16 plus countries. India's own population, yesterday we were looking at figures about 90 lakh odd people already vaccinated and many more to come in times to come. So vaccine tourism, incidentally, is also something that is being evaluated and worked upon, because we all understand that COVID literally stopped world travel, and people around the world are keen to somehow fortify themselves against the impacts of COVID. So we do see a lot of potential on that. But then coming back to where we are already as a country before COVID happened, clearly very strong competencies available. And in a meeting that was held recently at the Honorable Minister of Tourism's level, a few issues that do need to be taken forward. We've had visa relaxations. There is an understanding that promotions need to be more targeted and more focused, but definitely more needs to be done. Dr. Trehan, in fact, was a part of that discussion, and a suggestion came up that we should be looking at further medical visa facilitations, particularly at the airports. They already manage the counter at the Delhi airport, but could we be replicating similar exercises across the other airports in India? I think that was a valuable suggestion, and we will be working closely with the airports and the Ministry of Civil Aviation on that. The other suggestion that came up was on improving the insurance availability, and particularly with respect to countries that do not have the insurance cover. That was an important aspect, and that discussion is already on in terms of a subgroup being created and seeing how the products could be designed for people coming from overseas. The third and perhaps the most crucial part, where we would want definitely to step in with more proactive aggression, is the promotion factor. As Mr. Goyal himself remarked, we ourselves are not sometimes aware of the kind of facilities that are already available. And carrying the message of what all can we offer is going to be an important part of our campaigns. And Dr. Trehan already mentioned about Heal in India. Yes, we are already working on that. But the other elements of India's hospitals and hospitality. So a hospitable hospital is a message, I think that's an important message to carry. And I am assuring that we will be working and creating some content. I'll look forward to, in fact, support from the doctors themselves as to how to create the right message, how to create the right content. Because another element that is critical for India and for a culture like India, which is so ancient, is how to integrate. And that's why I think more than even alternative therapies, the buzzword that one is hearing now is integrative therapies. And again, the hospitals in India are coming forth with great innovation in how to not just get you well in terms of the quote unquote medical way, but as a complete wellness field. And the role of integrative therapies there is going to be crucial. And we have been fixing our focus on wellness and yoga and Ayurveda, but how to integrate it with the whole concept of being well is a content definitely which needs to be pitched with far more focus, I would say. And I think that's an area we would want to work on. Dr. Lal has indicated further moving from integrative, and in a sense, a part of integrative is the spiritual part of it. And that is, again, something which is the USP of India, and putting all that together as a package. So there are things, there are standalone silos, competencies, centers of excellence, but how to really put that all together and carry the story of Heal in India as a composite package design, I think is the need of the hour, because clearly we have it, but we aren't doing that much as there is potential to do. So I think from the government perspective, that's one huge learning that we are taking away from the meeting that held earlier and also from the sessions today. And we would want to assure all those people who have logged in from other countries that you're going to see a lot more of campaigns from us, both on social media as well as on our global media campaigns, as and when we start going back to the world, depending, of course, on when the world is safe enough to travel post-COVID. Having said that, I think the other thing we probably will need to get from the other countries, and for all the people who are from the trade and who've logged in, if you could also work very closely with the sellers, in this case, sometimes the tour operators and sometimes the hospitals themselves, as to every culture has a different need. If they could help us also to identify that from their side, what is it that the patient would be most benefited, we would be very happy to work from the demand side, so to say, and not just offering what we believe that is right to offer, but also focusing on what is it that could be possibly required. There could be issues of language, and we'd be happy to step in and work with our institutes if there is a need for language creation or facilities around that. Dr. Trehan indicated also sometimes the need not only just to get treated in the hospital, but take it forward in terms of maybe visiting Agra or maybe visiting some other locations of India. Sometimes the locations, particularly in the Himalayas or the Northeast, might be great places which used to work as sanatoriums. You go stay there for a month, and particularly in post-COVID times when people are focusing a lot on staycations and working from more open environments. And there's no dearth of that in India. So probably we need to take it further one step forward and integrate with that part of our supply chain where the homestays have actually come of age in a way, we could say, in India. And could we possibly integrate the hospitals with the hospitality of this kind, where there's homemade food, but it could be under the instructions and guidance of the doctors, so that the food that is served in these homestays could actually be tailored to the requirements and we could look at extending the stay the stay days of these tourists who come for medical value tourism to India, but stay on to benefit from the immense wisdom of the Indian way of life, so to say. So those are some of my thoughts, and lots to take away from these sessions. And thanks for wonderful ideas to both Dr. Lal and Dr. Trehan, and we look forward to working on those together.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the role of the Ministry of Tourism in coordinating everything is very, very important. And I'm sure that, you see, we have a very dynamic team, and the secretary, the new Secretary Tourism was Chairman Airport Authority of India. And what you are saying is, all the airports, maybe a cold chain can be developed right from the airport till the hospital and back. And how does a person reach from the airport to the hospital is a challenge. And once or twice, I think corridors were made when heart transplant was taking place by the traffic police. But our company, I didn't want to talk about it, but somehow it has come in. We, for the last 15, 16 years, are doing, we have a separate company, Stick Air Charters. And what we do in that is a lot of medical evacuation. And we have, we are providing to all tour operators and, a lot of people, air ambulances also. And so this is a facility where the tour operator, the travel agent can come in and, link up all these segments of the industry and including Ayurveda. So I would say the 3-4 H's, the hospitality, which is holistic, and our hospitals are just like home, right? So with these 3 H's, I think we can go ahead. And now we have Mr. Rao, Chairman ITDC, who, is, has already done, certain facilities during this COVID time, tying up with the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So, Dr. Rao.
Thank you so much, Subhaji. Thank you very much. Respected Brigadier Arvind Lalji, Dr. Naresh Nehanji, my dear colleague Rupinder Brar, and distinguished other panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely happy that I'm part of this webinar, and I'm given the opportunity to speak with all of you, and also share my thoughts on medical tourism in India, medical and wellness tourism in India, and also what are the facilities that the hotels are offering to keep hygienic conditions and hygienic environment and sanitized areas. Well, after speaking to professionals like Dr. Arvind Lalji and Naresh Dehanji, what I'm going to speak will be extremely practical and the minute details. It's not as scientific. God has given life and doctors give long life. That's what I keep saying every time. So doctors are more important than administrators. So I was just going through some of the articles and the information which I have downloaded from the parliamentary question and answer sessions. One of the replies which was given by our Honorable Health Minister is that the number of visitors, the foreign visitors to India for medical and wellness treatment, medical and wellness tourism was used to 2009, it was 1,40,000. And in 2019, it has gone to 7.5 lakh people. 7.5 lakh visitors have visited India exclusively for medical purposes. Well, foreigners coming to India for medical treatment is nothing new about it. We have been hearing this ancient days where people came here for on the spice route. People were coming here in Kerala. Since I worked as Kerala Tourism Secretary, I knew I happened to get hold of good books on spice route tourism, and there many of the Europeans shipments of pepper was being transported to Europe during those days. And also, as Rupinder was mentioning, we have great Himalayas, where though we have people, we heard about people going to Himalayas and getting some mystic powers. I don't know whether the mystic powers is true or not. Certainly, people had long life and a very healthy life staying there in Himalayas. Whether it may be the power of the Himalayas, naturally speaking, not mystically, and maybe the water there. I don't know. Only doctors can explain about it. But history is replete with so many cases like this. And Ayurveda, today what we heard, what I have seen here is very illuminating, given by these doctors. They also spoke about the most modern, most advanced technology. At the same time, they also spoke about the most ancient Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurveda, Kotakal medicine from Kerala is so popular. Many of the heads of the states used to come there, and still they're coming there now to get treated. Yes, when these people are coming, so many foreigners are coming here, and with 7.5 lakh beds available here, more than 30 to 40,000 hospitals in the government sector alone are available here. So what is the kind of the training which is going into this when you receive the tourists? I'm only speaking about exclusively on the hospitality point of view, how to make the hotels as hospitable as Brar was mentioning. What is the protocol, the health protocols and the WHO protocols which we are offering here in India? So if you take the foreign countries, in Cyprus is providing for the COVID patients free accommodation, free transportation, entire medical expenditure towards the COVID patients is being offered with the Cyprus government. USA has got its own protocols. Various hotels, ITC, Taj, and Marriott, they have their own slogans and they have their own protocols. What happens exactly when the tourist comes here? Right from the time he arrives in the airport, and the taxis go there, and the taxis, whether these taxi drivers are given training in hygienic protocols or not. This is very important aspect. It is not only the taxis, it is in the railway stations, in the bus stands, even domestic tourists. If you take up one place to other place, it's not that all the Keralites are getting treated in Kerala. They go to Hyderabad, they go to Delhi. It's not that all the Delhi people are getting hospitalized and getting medical treatment only in Delhi. They also go to different places. So the domestic wellness and the domestic hospitals are visited. So what is the training that which is going into these the people who are operating buses, the people who are operating taxis, the auto rickshaws? So the protocol they maintain, in Delhi, if you take, I've not seen many taxis having the plastic curtain, the plastic divider from the driver, and the driver sits in the front, and the people who travel sitting in the back. That is not there everywhere. Every hospital, every hotel is not a 5-star hotel, right? So even the 3-star hotels and less than 3-star hotels also operate with the taxis. So the taxi drivers and the taxi owners the transport vehicle owners also should maintain this protocol, which we are trying to propagate, of getting the guests to the hotels. So in the hotels, when the luggage screening happens, every hotel has got a different screening mechanism. So at the same time, every hospital cannot afford the most modern screening facilities. When the guy who opens the doors to receive the guests, so he has to spray the most modern, the latest sprayers. Electrostatic sprayers are available in the market. So whether they are doing it or not, it is the responsibility of the management. And once these guests, they come to the reception. So in my olden days, I used to, when the first time I took US visa, maybe 25 years back, when I went to Chennai, to the US embassy, there was a gap between me and the person standing in front of me. Almost a 1 meter gap was there. The first time that I'm exposed to a queue system with a 1 meter gap between a person standing and a person in front of him. So I used to think that US people are extremely disciplined. And when this COVID attacked, I thought US would be the least affected because of the social distancing norm, which I have seen 25 years back in US embassy in Chennai. But unfortunately, you have seen more than 1 million deaths there, reaching 1 million deaths there in USA. So, but in reception, when the tourists come there in reception, it's a seamless, contactless entry into the hotel, which we have introduced. Of course, not we in the sense, all 5-star hotels and 4-star hotels have introduced. Before coming in, entering into the hotel itself, people get into log into their apps and get their rooms booked and do the check-in and check-outs. It's a seamless check-in and check-outs which are they're using by the latest modern technology. Then after, this is very important. I'm using, when you enter the lift, I've seen many of the people. I notice in Ashok Hotel and Samrat Hotel and other, when I receive important guests, many bureaucrats I have received, many politicians, very highly educated people. They enter the lift. Before entering the lift, they use their the fist of the back of the fist, or they use the elbows by pressing this. I always carry the toothpicks, a couple of toothpicks. When I get out of the house, I carry my mask and the sanitizer and also 5-6 toothpicks, because to use the lifts, not only this toothpick, not only use it in using the lift, but also when you do marketing, when you go to the marketplaces, when you swipe your card, when you have to enter your PIN, and when you go to the ATMs also, this is useful. This is, I'm sure all of you must be doing it, but general, whoever is participating here is noticing this. This particularly, we have trained, Ashoka Hotel has trained entire staff of 1,000 people in all these HACCP protocols, hazard analysis of critical care points, critical control points. So, which is a WHO norm, and FSA protocol is also being followed. And when people enter the room, and the special training is given how to change the blankets and the toiletries, the contactless. You have to see that the safest is that not to touch, whether even the telephone receiver to place the order in the restaurants. That also is taken care of. He need not lift the telephone receiver to place the order in the restaurants. Even in the restaurants also nowadays, you have seen in almost all the hotels where you can just scan the menu. You don't have to touch the menu card. So similar kind of thing we have introduced in recently. ITDC has taken over the canteens of the Parliament. In the Parliament canteens also, we have told Honorable Speaker that entire hygienic protocol needs to be maintained, and CPWD has purchased a new equipment. So the most modern equipment has been purchased in context of COVID. Similar thing is being procured in Ashoka Hotel also, which will be having the least contact there. So not only this, in the banquet halls, we are trying to have functions or the marriages maximum to have in the outdoor, so that the protocol is maintained in efficient manner. So these are the few items which we have introduced in hotels, and we have entered, as Subhaji was mentioning, that we have entered into an understanding with an MOU with All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and with the doctors team there. We are regularly in touch with them. But how many hospitals how many hotels can afford to have an MOU with the hospitals everywhere in this country? It is important that 3-star hotels and less than 3-star hotels also should have should have some kind of medical expertise assisting them in implementing this hygienic protocol, so that this trust is the currency, new currency, what everybody is telling. So we have to give them the trust and the confidence for them that when they come to these hotels, they'll be secure. And in fact, in every hotel, it is better to have some 3-4 rooms, which can be given to, which is sanitized completely for anybody who gets to get the first aid. For them, some rooms can be earmarked. So, but we are trying to implement, try to live up to the international standards. And I'm sure that in this, now that we are seeing, yesterday's total number was 1,012 cases entire country. It is coming down. It's really coming down, and we only hope that because the tourism sector is the first hit and the worst hit, and perhaps the longest hit, which we are what we believe. But with this coming down, with the domestic tourism going up in a big way, the hotel business also, we are hopeful that it will see great future. Thank you so much, Subhaji, and thank you so much all the panelists.
Thank you very much. I think we've had a wonderful session. We have all learned from each other. And I think we don't have time left for any questions and answers, because we have already exceeded our time by about 10 minutes. So what we will do is that whatever question answers are there, we receive. Chatali, can you are recording the session now? So if whatever is recorded, then we'll sort of, after this, we'll try to reach everyone, and whatever answers we can give to our viewers, we'll, to the best of our ability, be able to give. Once again, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude and sincere thanks to each and all of you, the speakers, particularly, Dr. Trehan, Dr. Arvind Lal, Rupinder Bararji, and Mr. Rao, for having spared their valuable time. And this session is going to be, every year we have been doing the India Tourism Mart, and I've been fortunate to be the chairman for the last 3 years. This is the third Mart I'm doing, first Mart virtually. But this year we have included this knowledge conclave with the help of KPMG, and which has become an, so again, I think we'll be doing this, but we'll separate it from the Mart so that we are focusing on this. And even as of we were speaking, there are appointments, there's a buyer-seller appointment session taking place, and people are taking appointments for medical tourism. And I hope, Rupinder ji, आप e-tourist visas भी शुरू कर दीजिए with, without that, all this exercise of tourism mart and all. And as Dr. Harshvardhan promised yesterday, because, I had a discussion with him before he made his, he has agreed to support us on opening international flights, at least with those countries with which we have air bubble, and starting e-tourist visas. So now you're the key person who can save India. And with the world's largest vaccination drive, and with such wonderful hospitals and diagnostic facilities, I'm sure medical tourism will be on top of our agenda. Yes, Dr. Lal, you can have the last word.
So I just wanted to, say again, forcefully, that 65% of the world population in India, including everywhere else, is dying from what we call lifestyle diseases. We call them in our jargon as non-communicable diseases, and they have diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiac diseases, cancer, liver, kidney, lungs, strokes, etc. So I would like to propose today in front of this enlightened audience that we can take care of all these things in a three-pronged attack. One is that the high level of allopathic sciences which we all offer. The second one is we will mix it episode and post episode with Ayurvedic sciences, which is there in Kerala. I myself am running 2 hospitals in Uttarakhand. And the third one, not to be forgotten, which is also written in our internal medicine books in Harrison, meditation and spirituality, So spiritual sciences, so troika, so allopathic sciences, Ayurvedic sciences, and spiritual sciences all put together, we can offer you something. And I have written a book myself on spiritual sciences. It's available on
Corporate Yogi.
Corporate Yogi. So it's available everywhere, and you can even download it from Amazon. You're most welcome, and make use of it. Not only will we promise you will prolong the duration of your life, but we will make it more qualitative. So there'll be a tiger in your tank. Thank you very much.
Dr. Trehan, would you like to say something, concluding point or something? Hello? Dr. Trehan, would you like to add something? Would you like to say something as concluding remark, Dr. Trehan? You'll have to unmute yourself.
So I think that we are all aligned with our basic thinking and how to move it forward. You made the right request to Rupinder ji about moving the needle in the right direction, because she's totally capable of doing it, and I'm sure she will. We are, integrated is still a very lukewarm word. We are now moving towards fusion. So now we are talking about fusion of modern medicine and Ayurveda to create complete solutions, especially to diseases like ulcerative colitis, liver diseases, skin diseases, which, modern medicine is weak and traditional medicines are very strong. Diabetes. So lot of lifestyle disease. So we are, like we said, we are now, it's promotive, it's predictive, it's all those fancy words. But the point is, the amalgam in India is far superior to anybody else. And we do such incredible work here medically that the experts are amazing. So we have some of the largest programs, like even at Medanta, we do between 18 to 20 heart surgeries a day. I don't think there are many centers around the world who can do that. So there are, cancer patients, all this stuff is quite complete, exciting, and a great offering. So you're talking about a 360-degree solution to anybody's problems. So that's why I think this is a natural choice that Indian medical value travel tourism, we may call it, will have a great uptake now, including the fact that we have a very sophisticated system of post-COVID rehabilitation and evaluation, because lots of people, if they are not taken care of at this point in their early recovery, after their early recovery, they will have permanent damages to them.
Okay, thank you. I think I can see I'm getting signage. Ashish is already there, and we have another session waiting. So once again, thank you very much. And
thank you.
We have a lot of hope on Rupinder ji to coordinate everything, and
right.
And Mr. Rao, and let's see. So over to you, Ashish. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, I'm personally indebted to all of you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all our viewers around the world who have joined in and from India. This was another of our panels that we had brought to you to showcase the strength of Indian tourism and to build a narrative of how each vertical of Indian tourism is going to move forward to rebuild the country's tourism sector along with all of you. I would request all of you to now log into our next session, which is another vertical. And thank you very much once again, Subhash, and to a lovely panel, Dr. Trehan, Dr. Lal, CMD ITDC, and ADG Tourism. Namaste. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you.
Namaste.